Hey guys, this is another edition of the Deep Dive. Let's take a deep dive. It's election time. One of the things that we notice is that there are lots of development going on across the country. That's undeniable. The facts speak for themselves. Now, some people may not like it, and I know some people don't like it because you know, hey, it's not free money being handed out to them. It's development of the country, right? We see highways, we see bridges, we see uh, the reemergence of the Jamaica Railway Corporation, we see massive infrastructure development going on across the country. And I would ask really humbly, what is it about that puts some people off? I mean, like, we've long hoped for a situation where we move away from the donkey tracks and the little tiny little roads up and down that some people have nausea just driving on it because out of fear, because the roads are so narrow and there are no retaining walls and some of that sort of thing. So I mean, like, as a Jamaican, I want to know who would be opposed to the massive infrastructure development we see happening across our country. Who would be opposed to that? And whether we want to admit that we're political or not, we're all political. So let's face the facts. We're all political, and everybody has the party they like, and of course, it's election time in Jamaica. But I think that we need a change, and I think there's a change in how the younger generation, the much maligned younger generation, is looking at party politics, because we see a lot of young Jamaicans who are working in the Heart Trust. We see a lot of young Jamaicans who are working all across the island as a result of the Heart Trust. And I am so proud of the Heart Trust and what it has done to put young people to work. One of the things that we've seen is that though the Jamaican economy is not where we would all like it to be, churning on all five cylinders, I don't know of anybody who could deny that Jamaica is on a path towards as an emerging economy. Nobody. We are not a third world country anymore. And a lot of that have changed over the last 6.5 years, whether we want to admit it or not. A lot of the infrastructure development, a lot of the technological advancement has only happened over the last several years. We can't deny facts. And there are a lot of you who are going to argue this and turn your head away because you're party political zealots who refuse to face facts. But the facts are there for you to see. All across the country, we see roads being built, police stations being rolled out, refurbished. Not all, but Rome was not built in a day. I don't know of any country that has got developed overnight. But we got to talk about the reality that's happening on the ground. And you all see it, you all know it. And so my question to many of you who would argue about changing the government is, what for? What for? Why would you change the government unless you want to go back to the days of crash program work, tired old tropes, tired old politics, people calling each other comrade? Where in the world is that even a thing? The Soviet Union collapsed in the 1980s. They don't call each other comrades. The communist China, they don't call each other comrades. They open up their market, and as a result, China is the second most powerful, arguably, in the world, second most powerful economy in the world. They don't call each other's comrades, okay? So for anybody in our country, a party in our country, be calling each other comrade, leader, what the hell is that? Can somebody tell me what the hell that is? And listen, listen, the infrastructure development in our country that is clear to see that the PNP, the People's National Party, always claim is in the pipeline. But when they were in office for 22 and a half years, 18 and a half unbroken, nobody saw any of that in the pipeline. Where was it? Everything that is happening in Jamaica, they said, oh, they had it in the pipeline. What pipeline? Where are those pipelines that they had it in? Come on. And so people going to the polls, elections are constitutionally due by September, right? And a lot of people are going to go to the polls. And unless we're talking about a situation where we want crash program work, people loaded onto public sector wage bills, not showing up for work, no work done, massive corruption. What would the people of Jamaica turn back for? Please, we have seen where there are people who have made some horrible mistakes in other countries and have literally turned themselves back to maybe 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. Is that what Jamaica wants? I don't think that's what Jamaica wants. So the question remains, what are the Jamaican voters going to do? But here's the thing. We see what the party in power has done over the last 2 terms. We've seen it. And the party in power is not perfect, not by any stretch of the imagination. Let me be the first to say, and if the People's National Party was in power, and I saw these developments happening, even with the lack of perfection, even though I criticized the government of today, I would have cheer-led the PNP if these developments were being undertaken by the People's National Party, by a People's National Party administration. But they weren't. What I saw under the PNP as a political commentator, what I saw was hold on. What we saw, I'm not ready for you yet, Damion. What we saw in the PNP was massive corruption. No police stations built, no police officers trained, no police equipment, no police vehicles. And I heard the Peter Bunting, the former Minister of National Security, said something the other day that under their leadership, police shootings went down. And I responded to that, and I'm going to respond to it again. Police shootings, fatal shooting went down under Peter Bunting and the PNP, but the reason that they went down was because the police were not engaging. The police had no weapons, no vehicles, nothing. And they didn't have the backing of Peter Bunting. Peter Bunting threw up his hands and said, the only thing that can save Jamaica was divine intervention. Well, I know God ain't going to come down to save Jamaica. It requires hard work, dedication. The same hard work and dedication that you see Horace Chang, Andrew Holness, and Commissioner, and the new Commissioner of Police has undertaken. It does not guarantee a decrease in crime overnight. But with your training our police officers, if you train your police officers, if you equip your police officers, if you give them proper remuneration, proper pay, and if you give them adequate and good accommodations and the tools to do their job, they will eventually bring crime down. Now, in addition to that, fixing the crime situation in Jamaica is not a function of the police alone. Police alone can't solve crime. Crime is part of a socio-economic situation. So we need to continue to expand training for the young people who are not going to college. We need to lower crime in the process. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. And we shall employ, we must put people to work, find ways to get investment opportunities in agribusiness and in other sectors of the economy so that young people can find work and not see gangs as a solution. Now, on the other hand, we need to do everything in our power to remove gangs, whatever it takes, to remove gangs as an option for young people, meaning there shall be no celebration of gangs, there shall be no celebration of any so-called Don. They shall be wiped off, not just wiped off the scene, but their name shall not be plastered on any wall, anything like that we saw under PNP rule, where gangs, Dons, every community corner had a Don on it, celebrating Don culture, turning a whole generation of people into a dancehall culture of people who believe that the rule of law is not sacrosanct. We need the rule of law. Thank you, Andrew Holness, for that. But I want to address one final issue tonight. I'm not going to stay long in this deep dive. What I want to bring to your attention is something, this little idiotic guy that was couldn't hold on to a seat, even in the PNP. He lost the seat. And of course, they forced him into the Senate. And he's been known to make a whole lot of stupid statements. That little idiot called Damion Crawford. And he's right at it again. So you know what? I'm going to shut up and let him make a fool of himself. Listen to him.
like labor right when time come for elections. Hold on. I go to conference and said that students being absent is a problem. In 1 month, let's go to his conference and said truancy is a problem. If just the one use my words and find that next word and then said this is a problem. So if him thief my word, then him now go thief my plan. There is no way. We are saying nothing more until the JLP call the election.
So here's what the nincompoop is saying. They are not going to put forth a plan on anything. Now, the JLP has been in power for 2 terms. Everything that they have done is an open book. The People's National Party has been in opposition for the same period. Now, what this nincompoop is saying, is that they will not release any of their plans for the voting public to see what they intend to do if they're elected. Sound like a communist ideology to me. Sound like they don't have any plans, but they want the Jamaican people who have seen the progress over the last 2 terms of the JLP administration to simply set aside everything that they have seen, the progress, all of the progress that they've seen, and give them back the reins, give them back the keys to Jamaica House, so they can wreck the country again, turn the country into a haven of criminality and gangs, fill their pockets with taxpayers' money, no accountability, zero accountability, and tell the criminals on the street to run with it, because anything or anything. This is what these nincompoops are asking the Jamaican people to do. This is what this nincompoop wants. He has more.
Let that sink in for a moment.
Yeah.
Our political parties
let that sink in.
Here to compete on who can serve the nation better or who can play the best game of hide and seek with voters.
Yo, you can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. Here's one of their standard bearer, a no nincompoop, telling the people that they're not going to put out no plan until elections are called, which means that they want to bushwhack the Jamaican people just so that they can hold elective office, just so that they can be handed the keys to Jamaica House. What do they do when they get keys to Jamaica House? Well, we don't need to guess because we saw what happened before when they had access to Jamaica House. Jamaica has a great economy. It can be better, right? But nobody wants to go back to the days of the PNP. No plans, no nothing. What kind of strategy is that? We're not going to tell the people what we have in store because the other party is going to steal their ideas. What ideas? What ideas? First of all, people, if a political party had ideas and if they believed in their ideas, don't let them take you for fools. If they had ideas and they believe in their ideas, you know what they would do? They would run on those ideas. They would trust you, the voters, to make the decision based on what the other party has in front of you. They would present their policy proposals to you and trust you, the Jamaican voters, to make the decision one way or the other. So when a political party tells you And you can disagree all you want, but I know many of you have sense in your heads. When a political party tells you that they're not going to release their plans, it's because they don't have a plan they can run on. It's because they don't trust you, the voter, to make decisions in your own interest. They want to force an agenda down your throat. An agenda that is antithetical to your interest, an agenda that is only in their interest, an agenda that is going to disrupt the flow that we're on, an agenda that's going to disrupt all of the investment and the infrastructure build out you see happening across our country. A place where Jamaica become a place now where people are running to, not running from. Under the PNP, people ran from Jamaica. Now people are running home. Let that sink in. People are running home. But they want to tell you that they're not going to show you nothing. They're not showing you nothing. They want you to make the decision to hand them the key to Jamaica House with no policy proposals, nothing for you to make an informed decision because they think you're idiots. They think all they can do is come and give you some curry goat and white rum and a couple beer and 2 sticks of weed, and that won't give them power. And all they have to do is tell you all kind of nonsensical shit for 4 to 5 years, and you'll put them back in power again. And no progress, while the rest of the world is making strides, putting people on the moon and putting people on satellites and doing all kinds of magnificent things. You will be stuck with little donkey cart roads, yeah, pushing hand cart, and they tell you how they love you, they love the poor. Yes, they love you, the poor, because as long as they could pull bullshit stunts like these and keep you impoverished, keep you poor, keep you out of the technological race that's going on right now, and keep them in power so that they can take your money, take your tax dollars, and enrich themselves, they're good. But if you fall for it, it's all up to you. You can't blame anybody. It's all up to you. This has been the deep dive tonight. We out. We'll talk to you tomorrow.